Hello, Inaka, and welcome to your deck review. For those of you joining us for the first time on YouTube, this is a series where I, Maldhound, a notorious yeller and hater and defiler of cool deck ideas in favor of counterspells, will calmly and politely check out your deck's weird little PP. Your PP being your premise and your practicum. Your premise is the idea behind your deck, it's what you hope it does. Your practicum is the stuff you actually put in the 99 and whether or not it helps you do that. Now, this deck's idea is Terra, Magical Adept. We want to cast a lot of saga creatures. We want to bring them back for value. We want to get as many triggers out of them as we can before they die. And where are we doing it? Bracket 4. That's the first problem I want to call out with the premise. We have other problems that the deck builder is noting, but a problem that is front and center to me. This is a really bad theme to try to take to bracket 4. Not because it can't compete, but because you're going to have this constant friction between trying to make the deck play better and trying to make the deck do the cool thematic thing you want to do. Because in bracket 4, and I've talked about this idea before, bracket 4 is where we move from what does my commander do really well to what do my colors do really well that my commander can help with. And Terra, because of her backside, is 5 colors. So what does all 5 colors of magic do really well? They play really good permanents, like Rhystic Study. They play really good spells, like Teferi's Protection. They play every fucking tutor in the business. And so when we're on bracket 4, nothing Terra can do as a Terra deck can actually keep up with what the table's doing. The only things that Terra can keep up with is as a 5-color good stuff pile. So my number one recommendation, and I'm going to stop belaboring the point after this, is to move this deck to bracket 3. You can do exactly what you want. You can have a very good time. You can do the thematic summon creature, trigger max, I'm sagaing all over you, bro. And you can win games, and it will be a good deck that satisfies you. But if we try to keep it at bracket 4 and we're playing it at bracket 4 tables, you are time and time again going to feel like you can't do enough quickly enough, like the saga creatures you bring back can't win the game on a tight enough timetable, and you're going to find yourself shoving in more and more game changers, more and more expensive generic good stuff cards that have nothing to do with Terra in an attempt to limp this theme over the bracket 4 finish line. If you want a bracket 4 Terra deck, this is the game changer you want. You are breaching and you are food chaining for the bear. People have made, I think, fringe attempts at Terra work in CEDH. I would work off of those, and maybe there are some enchantment-based tangents you can go down that the CEDH decks aren't going down. But for the most part, what was put to me in the primer about, oh, man, I want to play these sagas, I want to get a lot of triggers out of them, and then I want to maybe bring them back someday. Bracket 3 is hell. Fuck yeah, we can do that. Can't with any of this nonsense. So let's look. The original idea was to copy many of them. This is no longer the case. Okay, we firmly want to reside. All right, so I'm going off the Google Sheet primer, which is more about this. So we want use sagas and other enchantment creatures as value pieces to dig and interact with the board until one of these cards is found to make a non-legendary copy of her backside, go infinite on mana, and use Terras to either burn out the board with Bahamut or Perforos, swing with Odin, or swing with the Terra copies. After playtesting, I found it to be decently consistent. My only problem is that it's still at minimum a turn 6 play, which for my group is slightly too slow. By this point, the board has enough interaction to stop me. The struggle now is figuring what to cut to get either more access to protection, make room for protective instant speed interaction or removal, or get the combo off by turn 5 at the latest. Still quite new to the game and not intimately familiar with the card pool, which I found to be my greatest weakness. I come from Yu-Gi-Oh! Ah, okay, bracket 4 makes more sense. Never mind. Scratch everything I said in the first 3 minutes. So, what's talked about in the Google intake form primer is my favorite summons in the deck are Bahamut, Primal Odin, Valifor, Knights of the Round, Shiva, Clive, Jill, Joshua, and Yecht. And by pure happenstance, all the cards you should cut from the deck to make room for more protection are those cards that I just named. And that is the core friction that I was talking about with bracket 3 versus bracket 4. All of the and you even know about the Underworld Breach plan. Perfect. So I think then, since you are at least knowingly opting into the bracket 4 game plan and you can find some enjoyment from that, that's good. You should still split this into 2 decks. And you need to have a bracket 3 deck and you need to have a bracket 4 deck, because the bracket 4 version of Terra is not going to give a like single solitary fuck about 90% of your enchantment value piece, because you're in 5 color good stuff, there are more tutors you could play. There are more valuable creatures you could play. Like, we don't even have, and this is, again, this is not the best creature ever. This is just a guy who is generically good. You're in 5 colors, you could play Lotho. If you're in bracket 4, I would imagine people are casting quite a lot of spells. This would get you a lot of treasures, which would get you to Terra much sooner. Might get you to the critical mass to do your combo sooner. Um, I believe you when you say this, so we can keep these. Copy Terra, draw cards. Like, we have Bitter Reunion. This could... We're just going to keep running into this wall. Anything that is not a tutor or interaction piece or part of your combo, it becomes questionable to me why we are playing it, particularly when we have access to so much stuff. Like, do we have... Like, the bracket 4 deck list basically just become a list of, well, what staples don't you have? We have... How many tutors we have? Imperial Seal, Vampiric Tutor, Demonic Tutor, Enlightened Tutor, Worldly Tutor. It's so much shit. I would say it's likely any of these guys that don't win you the game or find you the combo piece. Like Cruelty of Gix, right? I think there would be the argument of, oh, well, I should keep this because it is a tutor, right? And it is also a recursion piece. It's also 5 mana. Like, the other element of 5 color good stuff that we are missing out on is really, really low cost mana acceleration. So you can talk to me about, well, it's a 5 mana permanent, and when I get to stage 2 of this 5 mana permanent, it'll do something really good for me. That is great, but if the problem with the combo is that it's not happening until turn 6, that makes me think we need more mana earlier, or we need the right cards earlier, which means anything that does not get you, or anything that gets you to the combo turn 6 or later, should be on the chopping block to become a mox, right? Like, it should become fast mana. It should become it should become any other tutor. Like, I think there's still the 3 mana tutor, idyllic tutor, that gets to hand. There is almost certainly, like, you could run Mystical Tutor and going Mystical Tutor into Vamp Tutor. I don't remember if Mystical Tutor off the top of my head, if Mystical Tutor, instant or sorcery. So going Mystical Tutor into Vamp or Demonic seems pretty fine. Having Demonic Consultation or Tainted Pact would also be useful to you. Like, 90% of what should you change is take a deck that is like... Let's look at what they're doing in CEDH. Since we want to operate really at the limits of power for this commander. They have a lot of fast mana, or a lot of mana acceleration. Like, we have fast mana, dork, mana acceleration, and that's how they're solving the problem. That's probably how you need to solve the problem. And what's going to make you different from CEDH is that you're likely going to have to stick on this, my commander has an output with one of these enchantment things, versus my commander has an output with Lion's Eye Diamond, Underworld Breach. But basically every card in this list, you should ask yourself, why is this not in my list? Like, do we have Mystic Remora? It's unlikely. We don't. And Mystic Remora is also an enchantment, so I think it has like some level of benefit with... Yeah, we could theoretically, we could hit it off Terra. Um, And that's really like the end of what we get to do. There's not a lot of playing closer to the theme that we can do because there's only because the theme cards in the deck do a distinctly different thing than what the deck wants to do, or what the what the current build of the deck wants to do. The theme of the deck wants to kind of slow flip Terra, or sorry, not the theme. The bracket 3 version of this deck wants to kind of slow flip Terra over and over. It wants to use this enchantment recursion to bring back a lot of these really valuable sagas and do stuff like, all right, inventive iteration, I'm gonna slow you down. I'm gonna get back useful artifacts. I'm gonna, what does this do? Horrible. I'm going to edict you. I'm going to get rid of the most problematic permanent. These are all good things in Magic, but like all of them are happening at mana values that are just way too slow for the bracket you're trying to participate in now. So my list of, yeah, unfortunately gotta die would probably be Rydia, Rydia, Inventive Iteration, Jill, Balefore. That gets us a non-legendary token copy, which I think just wins us the game. Cruelty of Gix, Eldest Reborn, Kami War, There and Back Again, Onyxia. I think Fated Clash you could probably find something more effective for. Shimmerwild's Growth, Dryad of the Elysian Grove, just because you're going to run out of lands. Like, Dryad of the Elysian Grove is going to get you from 2 lands to 3 lands, and then you have 35 lands in the deck. You don't have an incredible amount of draw power. We just can't feed this guy quickly enough. Doing like Utopia Sprawl, Wild Growth, Ignoble Hierarch, that's all fine. I don't love Fanatic of Ronas, but I also don't hate him. I think 9 times out of 10, you're better off having something you can use on turn 1, or having something you can put into play turn 1, because this 4 green, getting access to 4 green only happens because we have stuck one of these big summons or we have flipped Terra. And in my mind, if we've flipped Terra, we are going for the win, right? Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that assumption, but I'm basing that off of the whole, we get Terra, we dig for a non-legendary clone, and then we go infinite on mana and Terras. Great, yeah. Everything can just become one of these cards, and it'll do it better. Like, intuition is crazy good for you. Search for the 3 cards that win me the game. I put 1 card into my hand, rest go into graveyard. So if you have intuition, and if there is a thing, I don't think there's a thing that can make you a non-legendary copy at 3 or less, so we can't make a Sabine's Reclamation pile. But at this point, I would basically just be regurgitating CEDH combo lines to you, which I don't think is necessary. So I'm going to put this link in the description, and it's straight up just look at this list. What this list have, my list don't have, because we're not talking about how to play to a theme. We're not talking about how to navigate, certain political situations about the deck. We're just talking about, I have a deterministic combo that right now is not tight. Why is it not tight? Because I have a bunch of hangers on of cards that I really liked in bracket 3, and unfortunately can't come with you in a meaningful way into bracket 4. You can keep them in the deck. You're allowed to cast them in bracket 4. They can even do good things in bracket 4, but they are always, always, always going to be worse than one of these staple options, than shoving yet another game changer in the list, even if it's not a game changer, shoving yet another like fast mana option or another tutor option in the list. Or shoving a Force of Will in, which is back on the game changer argument. That would be my recommendation is you just cut down every piece of enchantment synergy that does not directly get you to the game win, and you make it tutors and you make it protection, and then hey, there you go. And if you want to try to preserve this feeling of it being an Enchantress deck, the best that you can probably do is get a list of changes that you know you should make and make them one at a time. And whenever the list gets to a point, and it's going to take a long time, it's going to take months to do that. Not going to happen overnight. But if you do that, then you can see over time, okay, well, how many of my pet cards do I want to keep? Because that's what bracket 4 is. Bracket 4 is CEDH with pet cards. Right now, you obviously have too many. There's some number you could have that will not be too many. So if I was going to stack rank the ones I would keep, I think the most keepable would be Inventive Iteration, because it... Oh, wait, no, I thought this was draw 2, discard 1. Fuck me, dude. Bounces a creature for 4 mana? Oh. Oh, Lord. I don't think we have important artifacts that we're putting in our graveyard. Okay, in that case, best pet cards you could keep are Jill, because getting rid of or delaying non-land permanents for even a turn can be important. Summon Veilfor, because we can... Even the tapping doesn't really matter, but most high power decks have at least one value creature. Everybody likes to pretend high power is just all combos, and it's mostly combos, but it's combos usually effectuated by a utility creature. So that means Eldest Reborn would follow after that. And those would be my 3 best from this group. The Gix, There and Back Again, Commuwar, Inventive, I don't think do quite enough. So they're the ones I would cut first. From your recursion, I would cut Rydia first because it's so... Ooh, discard to draw, actually. I would keep Rydia first because in the bracket 4 version of the deck, the card selection I think is more important than the actual recursion. We talked about Jill already. If you do it for mana acceleration, you could cut a land or two. Your worst ramp choices are Dryad of the Elysian Grove and Shimmer Wild's Growth. Dryad, because I don't think we have the draw power to get all these lands, so I would probably seek to replace Dryad, Shimmer Wilds, Fanatic of Ronas. Ignoble Hierarch can stay, Wild Growth can stay, Sprawl, Favor Elder. The rest of these I think are all workable. Dog. I was too harsh. I love you. I love you in this deck. Yeah, Destiny Spinner pretty solid. I would say Ghostly Prison should go. Ghostly Prison is a symptom of a deeper sickness, and that sickness is your deck not go fast enough. If you're ever finding yourself in a position where you're like, oh, I wish I had Ghostly Prison here, what you actually wish you had was a Mox or a 1-mana tutor. Everybody Lives I'm rocking with because you get to stuff a win attempt. So Propaganda, Ghostly Prison, Fear of Safety, out immediately. Moment's Peace, you can definitely find a better option, but having a one-off Fog, I would put this on the bubble. This would be a thing where you can try to keep it at first. You'll probably have to get rid of it later. This is really funny in bracket 3. It's too slow. It's too slow in bracket 4, and also what you do is half the time you save the game, half the time you punt the game by doing this, because you put everybody in a situation where now, like, oh, if I'm the blue player, or if I'm a blue player, I have 2 counter spells to try to stop 2 win attempts. I can now only stop 1 win attempt. Or I can stop no win attempts if I do something on my turn. I realize you're trying to create a situation where everybody else is tapped out to allow you to just get steamroll through on the win. I would rather, like... it's just get the better card, right? Switching from bracket 3 to bracket 4, take away the card that has the card super type that works with your commander, and play the good card that does the effect you need to do, which is I need to stop my opponents from countering my stupid ass. You could do a Grand Abolisher effect, etc., etc., etc. But you definitely have the tools to do something like this without needing to spend 4 mana on it, because 4 mana means you're probably tapping out on a pretty impactful turn. And you're also committing nothing proactive to your board. It's 4 mana for the hope of future defensiveness. I would probably cut Yuna too, unfortunately. Yeah, sure, why not, dude? Sure, why not, dude? Um, if you need the haste enabling, you can keep this. Otherwise, I don't think discarding a card to draw 2 is as good as a tutor. Few things are as good as a tutor. I think Setessan Champion also probably gets left behind in the bracket 3 jail. Like, this is not... Normally, people only play this because you can put it in your command zone, but, like, this is probably going to draw you more cards than Setessan Champion, I think, at this point. Oh, no, we're at 34. Ooh. Well, okay, 12 of them are sagas, which I'm going to make you cut. It's tough. I can see the value. I take back everything I said about Tymna. This card's definitely better than Tymna in this deck still. But it's like, do we want this, or do I want another thing that can copy Terra? Do I want another thing that can tutor for the thing that can copy Terra? Do I want a thing that can tutor, like Intuition, Gifts Ungiven? Do I want to tutor, like, do I want to draw 2 more cards over the course of the game? Or do I want to tutor for a pile that will instantly win me the game? And the answer is almost always, hey, I want the fucking pile. Hey, I want to pick up my whole deck right now. Hey, I want to counterspell you for free. So that one was kind of a roller coaster because I went in being like, we're not doing the bracket 4 thing at all. And then we can't do the bracket, or like, I can't offer you advice on the bracket 4 thing at all. And then I gave you a bunch of advice on what cards to cut to do the bracket 4 thing and retain some semblance of personality. So I'm sorry that was all over the place. I do wish you the best. I think you can get a bracket 4 version of this deck that keeps a little bit of the flavor you wanted, but what will help you more than anything is making a bracket 3 version that is just, I'm Terra pilled, I'm saga maxing, and then having this bracket 4 version that's like, okay, I still have a saga outlet for my combo, which is why it's not CEDH. But it's mostly good cards.